Hello and welcome to it-workz. Today we have a showdown between two of my gaming monitor picks for under £200 during the Black Friday sales. Introducing the Dell G2724D and the ViewSonic VX2718-2KPC-mhd. And as you may have guessed, both are 27-inch, 1440p, 165Hz refresh rate, and both have a 1 ms response time. The Dell costs £195 and is available direct from Dell, and the ViewSonic costs £165 and is available from Amazon. We will be putting these two gaming monitors head to head, comparing their design, specification and gaming performance to help you decide which one is the right choice for you. And I'll be upgrading my current screen setup, which consists of two Dell 24-inch monitors that are 1080p. And I'll be keeping the one that wins today, so be sure to stick around. We will start with the Dell. The design is typical of Dell, nothing extreme and off the scale. It has a charcoal grey black finish to it. This is a gaming monitor that could sit in an office environment and not look different from any other monitor. So if you wanted something low key, then this is definitely the design you want. Dell usually use the two fork leg design, but on this gaming monitor it has a wide base which feels very solid. The little sticker is the only thing that gives it away that it could be packing something special inside. It has a very slim bezel running around the edge and it has a 16:9 aspect ratio. On the rear of the panel it's got these vents, but they don't appear to be functional, so it's more for design. And there is a cutout in the stand for routing cables through, which is great. You also have these 5 buttons. The top one is used to navigate the menu. It acts like a joystick. You can move it up and down and left and right, and you select by pressing it in. The other buttons are custom modes you can program. Regarding the menu, it's typical of Dell. It's an overlay which is very responsive. Within the menu you have 11 preset modes to choose from, which change on the fly as you go through them without selecting, which is quite good. You also have options to select the response time between fast, super fast and extreme. But why wouldn't you have it on extreme all the time? Let me know in the comments. The ViewSonic design again is simple, similar to the Dell in terms of color, bezel and aspect ratio, and there is no wild gaming designs. It does have a gloss finished bezel at the bottom, which is a nice touch, but a fingerprint magnet too. This screen is curved and it's the first curved monitor I'll be using, so it will be interesting to see if a curved screen offers anything special during gaming. I do prefer the base of this ViewSonic in comparison to the Dell. However, this base doesn't offer any cable management and it's definitely not as sturdy as the Dell. It felt like it was going to topple over on a few occasions whilst unboxing. On the back, nothing really special happening here. The VESA mounts are exposed and I prefer the design of the Dell's rear. The menu system can be accessed from the 5 buttons below. The buttons themselves give some good feedback, but I will be honest, I find the Dell joystick much easier to use. You are constantly referring to the guide below and often find yourself pushing the wrong buttons. It doesn't have as many presets as the Dell does either. With the Dell you're able to adjust its height, tilt, swivel and pivot. This gives you that flexibility to get your posture perfect for gaming. Onto the connections. With the Dell you have the power port, which is your standard kettle lead. You get one HDMI 2.0 port and 2 display ports that are 1.4. Now you will only get the max 165Hz refresh rate via those display ports and are limited to 144Hz with the HDMI. It would have been nice to have a USB hub, but I guess those are reserved for more high-end models. In the box you get a DP to DP cable and a DP to USB Type-C, which is great. On the other hand, the ViewSonic does not have the adjustability as the Dell. You can only tilt it, which is a drawback. However, the difference in price may allow for a VESA mounted stand that will allow you to have that adjustment. We have 2 HDMI 2.0 ports and one 1.4 display port. You get a headphone jack, which is useful, and this is the power input. You do have some basic speakers, although I would recommend headphones or external speakers. The connections are on the back, which in my opinion is better as I find it easier to access. In the box you get a power adapter with a kettle lead, so it doesn't have the built-in power like the Dell. You also get a DP to DP cable, so not as much accessories as the Dell. Onto the panels. The screen has 99% sRGB coverage, so it's good for gaming, but not so much for those wanting very accurate colours. The screen also has a light matte finish. You won't have as many reflections as you would versus a glossy, and it won't glare as much if you have a window behind you like I do. And with it being a light matte finish, you get some of the advantages you would with a gloss, which is more vibrant colours, as you can see from the colour burst video. There is no blacklight bleed from what I can see, and the panel has a 400 nit brightness, so it's bright and will allow you to use it in well lit rooms. The ViewSonic is a 27-inch 1440p Quad HD VA panel, so the black levels and contrast are pretty good, and in theory better than what we would find on an IPS panel. Viewing it straight on, you can see how good the contrast looks, and these colours look great. There is almost no blacklight bleed. The panel has only 250 nit brightness, so when compared to the Dell it's almost half. So if you're in a bright room with the sun coming through, then you may struggle with this monitor. If you're gaming at night or in a poorly lit room, then it should perform okay. And on the subject of gaming, I've put both monitors side by side and connected them both to my PC, which has a 12GB A2000 GPU that I am borrowing. This is not a gaming GPU, so I might be asking too much here with duplicating the screens for this comparison test. I will lower the settings in the game so we can achieve over 100 frames hopefully. Both monitors' brightness and contrast are set to 100. The ViewSonic's preset mode is set to FPS, as I found it gives it that little bit of colour pop. The first game is Forza. From the intro to the game you're introduced to a lot of coloured scenes. As you can tell, there is not a lot of difference. The Dell colours just seem to pop a little, but ever so slightly. In game you cannot spot much difference. I'm in the dark room with the RGB light coming from my PC, so this is probably the best scenario for the ViewSonic. I now have the light in my room switched on, and not a lot has changed. Seems just as bright as the Dell screen. The curved screen does seem more focused, but I think on a 27-inch the curve is not necessary. In Atomic Heart, again there is not much difference. The red just looks slightly redder on the Dell screen. As you can see from this in-game cutscene, it's very hard to tell the difference. In Call of Duty Modern Warfare, again there is very little difference between them. I would say the Dell just looks slightly better. There is almost nothing between them. The black just looks slightly blacker. There isn't any ghosting that I can see either. So in summary, both monitors perform very similar, and it's going to be a very tough decision to make. One of the major downsides to the ViewSonic is its lack of adjustability. However, with the slight saving that you have, which is £35, you could buy a single monitor arm which would resolve those problems. I do feel that the design and the build quality of the Dell is much better, and you get 3 years warranty compared to the 1 year you get from the ViewSonic, which is pushing me more towards the side of the Dell. In my desk setup, my intention is to have two screens side by side, and having two curved monitors side by side just doesn't sit well with me. So for me personally, I'm gonna go for the Dell. For the extra amount of money, it's worth it in my opinion. But what do you think? Let me know in the comments below. If you found this video helpful, then please give it a thumbs up, and thank you for watching.